Do you ever feel like God seems not to care about what you're going through? You know, God doesn't condemn us, even though it's not good to be discouraged. And he could say, don't be discouraged. You know, that's not a good Christian to be discouraged. But there's no condemnation in Christ. He doesn't condemn us when we do something wrong. He comes to us and he lifts us up. When we believe in his power, in the Lord's power, to bring us through all of our challenges, why should we be discouraged? Discouragement is the sign that we don't really believe he will see us through. This experience of trust has been growing in me. And I have to say, what really brought it home for me in all of our studies over the years, what really brought it home was when I began to see how God has orchestrated everything. I mean, everything in the heavens. And not just in the heavens, but also on the earth. He knows everything. And he knew everything. And all about the time. He knew from millions of years ago, before we can even conceive. We have no conception of that amount of time. And yet God knew, he could see in the future exactly how life would unfold on this earth. He knew all about the social conditions, how they would develop over the years, and he sent his signals in the heavens, the comets. And they tell a story of time. And we're learning about that story of time. That's content for another video. But it's in this experience of seeing how vast God's understanding is. Do you really think that God can be surprised? You know, something comes and, I wasn't expecting that. But God can't be surprised. He's expecting everything because he knows everything. He knows exactly when everything is going to happen. He knows what's going to influence us so that we will do whatever it is. And then he can send that comet from millions of years ago onto its orbit so that at exactly the right time, it comes into our view, we see it, it comes around the sun at exactly the right day, it makes its perihelion, and all of these things tell a story. That's why it's not anything strange to, when we look in the heavens, you know, the constellations were not all identified or classified at the same time. There are old ones that, along the ecliptic especially, that were characterized in antiquity. But then there are the southern constellations, for example, that only in the 18th century, the astronomers began to characterize some of those and to give names. But that doesn't bother me in our study. It doesn't have to be some ancient thing that the Bible speaks about, because God knows the end from the beginning. He knew that the horologium constellation would be, by the arrangement of those stars, it would impress upon the astronomer Nicolas Louis de Lacaille, that's his name, who discovered the constellation, or at least characterized it as a clock. God knew that it would impress him as a pendulum clock. And so he used whoever he wants, whether that man is part of God's kingdom or not is irrelevant, but God uses all of his creation. He knows the good and the evil, and he orchestrates it all together for the good of his people. And so from the beginning, he knew everything about our constellations, how the programmers and the artists would draw that in the stellarium, for example. All of those things, God knew that in advance. He knew how it would impress you, how it would impress me. And that's the expectation of a God who is time. He is never surprised. He knows everything. And so, can I not trust that he knows my problems, the challenges that I face, the things that I have to deal with that are perplexing me? Of course he knows that. Of course he has a solution. He knew that from millions of years ago. He knew exactly what, at this very moment, I would be experiencing. He knows the feelings that you are having right now. Nothing is by chance. It's not by chance that you're watching this video still. So, the Lord has all these things, and he's not moved. He's not moved by anything. He is a rock, stable, immovable. And we can depend on him. And so as I began to see how he's orchestrated all of these things together, because it's incredibly remarkable, it's such a little word, to see how God has done all of that, that it gives me peace and confidence that, okay, I know that he can handle my problems, that they seem big to me, but when I look in the heavens and I see what God has done, my problems aren't really big. The little things that I deal with, they're not big for God. And if you feel like you're going through big challenges, look up. That might be why God said, and why Jesus said in the end, when you see your redemption is drawing near and you see all these troubles in the world, perplexities, the nations don't know what to do anymore, then look up. See the grandeur of God and have confidence that he will see you through. He has a purpose for the good and for the evil that comes. So what is there to fear? We can go forward in confidence in him, that he will see us through, that he will overcome every challenge and obstacle that might lie in our path. So I want to leave you with that. Another aspect of what God does when we look up and we see his grandeur. And I encourage you to do that and to put your faith in him as our rock, our fortress, immovable, unsurprised by anything. You can depend on him completely. Cast your cares upon him because he cares for you. So I'll see you next time. Until then, cast your cares onto him. Thanks.